Alright, stream is live. I'm not going to worry about dropped frames because that's the least of my worries. Tonight I'm going to fly the jet. Just looking around here. Am I getting weird hitches? No, but I wasn't before the server was on pause last time either, so that'll be fun. Please don't unpause it right now, because that wrecks the track file. Alright, okay, briefing for this show site. Altimeter is going to be 29902 uncorrected since we're flying over the water. It's going to be a right turn out of the chocks. We're going to hold short today. I thought about doing checks on the taxiway. It's just too short.
Check.
So we'll hold short of 04. We'll do takeoff checks there, and then we'll line up and wait for the no-flap blower go. It's a right turnout. We're going to look for about a right 45, and then we'll come back left and swing around for the head-on. Just a reminder, the head-on is smoke off 1 mile out over center point, and then I go ready brake, or ready hit it, on hit it, smoke on. There's not going to be a radio call for that.
Yep.
And then it's smoke off at the merge. I will try to call that because I keep forgetting.
Okay.
And then it's pull to behind the crowd headings, pull to 40, and then it's a 270-degree roll away from the crowd so the canopies end up facing the crowd. At which point we'll roll wings level and push out to then go to our behind crowd, crowd left and right headings to set up for the knife edge. At which point it is the show as previously briefed up until things to keep in note is that the hill behind the crowd climbs away from the bay, and there's a hill in front of the crowd that we have to worry about as well. I don't think it's going to be a factor for many of the maneuvers that you do, except for the Delta Breakout, but treat the Delta Breakout much like you do at Nellis.
Okay.
And don't let yourself get too low over that hill in front of the crowd, otherwise you can't spot you can't spot the pier to line up for the return.
Got it.
So keep us at a high plane so that we can fall back into it, and it's going to require a lot of power out down the hill.
Got it.
Out of the Delta Breakout, it's going to be a left turn for the Delta Flat Pass, left turnout, and then we'll circle back around behind the Novo field to line up for a right pitch up brake to land at 04. So you're going to stay on my left wing.
Woof. All right, yeah. Please be clear in those comms. I will forget the right pitch up.
Yes, I will be very clear on those comms, and I will be very emphasized on the right pitch up brake to land.
So it's a left turnout out of the Delta Breakout.
Yes, a left turnout out of the Delta Breakout to set up for the Delta Flat Pass. Left turn out of the Delta Flat Pass to set up for a right pitch up brake to land runway 04.
Okay.
Because that's our headwind.
Sounds good.
All right. Any questions or notes before we go to goals for the show?
Yes. There are a number of briefing items for maneuvers I fly. Inverted takeover roll and section high alpha are as per standard. Or rather, maneuvers I lead. The loop break cross has some fairly significant adjustments, so hang with me here. The hill that is in front of crowd creates quite a bit of problems for the altitudes we're supposed to do heading outbound. Expect a climb out at roughly 5 degrees as you're headed away from crowd after the ready brake split. Because I tried it earlier and I was like, there is no way to do this without hitting this hill. It doesn't work. So rather than like bench the whole maneuver up by about 1,500 feet, we're just going to climb. So you're going to need more power. I'm going to try and peg 400 if I can, but it's going to be trickier. So distances and speeds might be not what you're used to. Also, that means as we come back down, it's going to be a shallower pull. So we're not going to pull the level and then just, it's probably going to be kind of scooping it all the way into center point. I'm going to aim, boss, and I will call this, I'm going to aim for 100 feet on the cross. But there is not a lot of time to get down there because of the hill. So I would advise you, once we roll it at 65, I don't know what you normally do, but just completely ignore me and do what you got to do to make the hit work.
Absolutely. Just give me speeds and distances.
Fly visually or whatever you're doing. Don't worry about when you pull out, like when I pull out versus when you pull out or any of that. I'm still going to call it because that's standard, but you just do your thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know what the terrain is like over where you are. Questions there?
On the outbounds, just call what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you're like, 1.5, mark 400, 5 degrees. Or, like, pull to 5 degrees. Don't give me, like, a pull to, like, just tell me where you're going to end up, and I'll just make it work.
I will also I will say up we go and whatever altitude I was at 3 miles. So I'll say 3 miles mark, up we go, this altitude, 4G mark.
Cool.
So that way you have a reference point. It doesn't mean you got to be nearby, you just got to know where I was. Okay, the Delta breakout, you basically briefed everything I was going to brief. Same thing, we're climbing over that hill, so expect like 5 degrees nose high on the outbound for that. I'm going to probably turn in a little earlier than normal in order to kind of stay over top of that hill so I can sight the spot. And then basically at the 90, expect a lot of power out, if not almost idle, because we come down pretty far. Yeah. And we will probably pull smoothly through and into the split.
Great.
I doubt we will get level, and that's not what I intend to do. So you can anticipate that. Also anticipate, once I feel good about the lineup, wherever that is in the maneuver, I'm going to smoke on. So that's probably the last 45 degrees or so. Because we don't have enough time once we get pointed at the crowd to get smoke on and have it all, the point where the crowd would like, where are they? And then they're there. I think that covers all the things I wanted to brief.
Okay. I've got one more briefing item, which is after the Delta flat pass, when we come left out of that, when I smoke off, I'm going to say ease it out, and I mean it. Like, go comfortable, clear in formation, because you got to remember, there's a gigantic hill that obscures the view of 04. So there's probably going to be a pretty strong correction to get us online for the runway for that. So keep it nice and loose until we roll out and get level, at which point you can say take it in and take it in. But give yourself a lot of room to make that maneuver comfortably, especially since you're going to be on left wing.
Sounds good.
All right, anything else before goals?
Negative.
All right, goals for the show. For me, there's a lot to do as boss and 5 in this show. A lot of adjustments to be made, which is fun. It's going to be fun, but I don't want that to get to me and make me sloppy. So the goal is to continue to fly a smooth lead and be ahead of the show, even with all the changes.
My goal is to fly a safe show. There's a lot of possibility for flying low, flying dangerous. There's that radio tower by the crowd, which we should have briefed as well. So there's just a lot of things to hit, including other aircraft. And so flying a safe show is goal number 1 for this first Novo Bay experience.
All right. Anything else? Any last things before we break?
Nope.
All right. Let's get after it. Ready, break? gonna switch inputs.
Same.
BrotherLeb, you got me?
I'm clear.
Alright. Dude, I remember when we first built this show site, it was like, oh cool, you know, a bay show, it'll be nice and fun. And now, having flown a lot of different shows, I'm realizing just how much chaos there is here.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah, it's very difficult.
we're gutsy, dude. Alright.
Well, we like water shows because we flew Seattle.
Yep.
Oh man, you're so far away. Okay, cool.
I know, right? Alright, I've got both of us on video, I've got both of us on audio, I have no overlays, putting OBS to sleep, and Discord to sleep, DTC is up. Alright.
Let me know when you're ready to unpause.
It's gonna be a sec. Need to adjust my seating position. Why is the keyboard so far away? Nope.
Uh-oh.
What?
I can't see anything. It's not full black, but the sim might have frozen.
Oh, that's weird.
Hello?
Hello?
Unfortunately, DCS has crashed.
Alright.
Okay, well,
Let me jump out of the server then.
give me 2 shakes.
Classic. Alright, we go through that whole briefing and it's fine, and then...
Yeah.
Alright.
Well, I put it on the map so that it wouldn't be, like,
Oh.
burning through my graphics card.
Uh-huh.
And I think coming back to the sim and spooling up again, it was just like, oh my god! I was also being goofy with my punch zoom, so that probably had something to do with it.
Alright.
Alright.
Let me know when the server is back up, and I will join it.
DTC, DTC's up. And it's got the right thing. Cool.
Just a couple of drop frames, but I do get some drop frames whenever I fly because I'm smacking my computer. But the drop frames, I believe, are from smacking my computer and not from network, which is what it was before.
Okay. Oh, bummer.
I'm just glad we didn't get in the cockpit and start spinning things up.
Yep.
When this happened, because that mental reset is a lot harder than this one.
Okay, the server should be loading.
Alright. I am loading into it.
Cool.
I have, in fact, loaded into it. Briefing, fly, wait for the jet to load. There's the jet. Hey look, I've got both of us on video, I've got both of us on audio, no overlays, putting OBS to sleep.
Checkity check, check, check.
Gotcha, Lima Charlie. Alright. Chariot is ready for unpause.
Alright, I'm pausing in 3, 2, 1, mark.
Wow. Advise when ready for startup.
Ready for start.
Battery on, APU on, standby canopy.
Leb.
3, 2, 1, mark. Standby right engine crank.
Leb.
Roger crank in 3, 2, 1, mark. Stand by, right engine forward.
Web.
In 3, 2, 1, mark. Stand by, left engine crank. Wow, that feels weird.
Got any hitches yet?
Nope. Left engine crank in 3, 2, 1, mark. Stand by, left engine forward. How you doing?
Good.
In 3, 2, 1, mark. Stand by, FCS.
Flight controls.
Go for FCS.
In 3, 2, 1, mark. In test.
Web.
Don't forget your stored heading.
Never do. Well, I don't know about never, but very rarely do.
I definitely do. Chariot's FCS is go!
Lip same.
Don't forget the wins.
What are they?
038 for 4.
Okay.
That means a headwind on takeoff and a wind blowing towards the crowd for the show. So keep that in mind for the section high alpha.
Got it.
And also the Fortis. Made that mistake in my test show.
Heh.
I was like, online! Not anymore!
038 for 4.
038 for 4. Just above the threshold for wins. Chariot's IFA is holding DTC.
DTC as well.
I flew my boss show the other day. I did pretty good.
Well done, sir.
Chariot's up, tree, 1. Or sorry, Chariot's DTC is complete.
Well up, tree, come on.
Discord check.
Good check.
Takeoff checks. Check your smoke pressure on. Check your trim set. Check your heading. My heading 120-ish. Check your altimeter set 29902 for an uncorrected center line elevation of 0 feet. Check your barrel warning 0. Check your FCS 12, 30, 30, 30 down to check your fuel seat arm lights out.
Lab.
Check your smoke pressure on. Smoke on. Smoke off.
Good smoke. Good afternoon. Chariot updated winds are 038 for 4. That'll be a headwind for takeoff. Check your altimeter set 29902 for an uncorrected altimeter setting and center point elevation of 0 feet. Chariot squawk 12045. Level squawk 1206. You're cleared to taxi right out of Chalks, left on the taxiway for hold short 04.
Hold short 04.
What?
Oh, I've got some fun stuff to show you in the replay.
Alright.
We'll see how this goes. Alright. Thanks, Leb. Cleared to taxi. Hold short 04.
Leb.
Souls were cleared to taxi. Check your parking brakes off. Chairs parking up to 75%. Off brakes now. Only seen that in the old days of DCS. Chariots ease in power to 70, letting it roll, and coming right. Give me 2 on the right wing. Chariots adding power to 72, letting it roll.
Loves it.
Classic. DCS, what a joy. Chariots easing power to idle. A little brakes, coming left. A little more brakes. Brakes. Takeoff jacks.
What?
Check your lights are off. Check your landing light is off. Check your flaps are half. Check your waypoint is in the box, showing waypoint 2 at 2.6 miles. Check your altimeter set to radar for takeoff and set to 29902. Check your dispenser's bypass and your seat is armed. Check your heading, my heading 124.
Leb.
Check your parking brake is off. Chair's powering up to 70%. Off brakes now, but let them detach.
Leb attached.
Come left. Okay. A little brakes. Easy brakes. A little brakes. Brakes. Solos, we're cleared for takeoff. Check your park brake is off. Update winds are 038 for 4. That's a headwind. Maneuver our section no flap blower go maneuver.
Let's rock.
Check your park brake is off. Let's run 'em up. Off brakes now. Blowers ready now. A little pull. Ease the pull. Ready, hit it. Roll. Rolling out. Gear flaps. Easing power. 270.
Contact.
280. Coming right. 300. 320.
Yeah, 2 check.
Chariot. Easing power. Easing more power. Easing the pull. Coming back left. Coming further left. Comes the pull. A little more pull. Adding power. Coming further left. Comes the pull. We're gonna have to come back right.
Leb.
Little more pull. Easing the pull and coming back right. Coming further right. Rolling through. Easing the roll. Easing the pull. Easing lots of power. Go line abreast. A little pull to level. Easing the pull. Rolling out. The head on. Center point mark. 25 fast. Ready, hit it! 380 mark.
Matt.
Numbers.
Left. Contact.
Look good for BrotherLeb. Mercs, walk off. Stand by, roll. Pull to 40. Stand by, roll.
Clear.
Roll. Chair's clear. And clearing behind the crowd, rather, for the knife edge. 1.6 mark.
1.8.
Still getting some hitchy doos.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out. 3 miles.
3 miles mark.
3.5.
On time.
4 miles mark.
Let me know when you're beam.
Loves me.
Let me know when you're ready to take a mark.
Go take it.
Mark it.
Four miles, mark 400.
Charts in for the right knife edge.
Alright, now. 2.8, mark 420. 2 miles, mark 404.
On time. Smoke on.
Contact.
Contact smoke off. Ready, hit it. Stand by, roll, and pull. Stand by, roll. Stand by, roll. Stand by, roll.
Clear.
Roll. Chair's clear, and clearing in front of the crowd for the opposing inverted to inverted rolls. 2 miles mark.
2.2. 3 miles mark. Four miles mark.
Let me know when you're beam.
A beam.
Let me know when to take a break.
Take it.
Stand by, mark it. 332. Gonna be late. Early.
3.8, mark 380.
Charts in for the left inverted.
3 miles, mark 402. Two miles, mark 400.
Still late. Smoke on. A little pull. Ready, one roll. Stand by, roll, and pull. Stand by, roll. Chair's clear, and clearing behind the crowd for the Fortis. Come left, Tux coming down. Sorry about that.
You're good. Contact.
360. 340. 330. 315, adding a little power. Easing the pull and rolling out. Souls behind the crowd, setting up the Fortis check line lights on.
Lab.
305.
You'll have to.
Chariot. Coming left. Coming further left comes the pole. Stand by the gear. Adding power. Adding more power. Easing the pole, rolling out some bank. Adding a little more power. Easing the pull, rolling out. The Fortis online. Chariot's rolling in.
Clear.
Outboard and very low. Center point. Chariot's pushing out. Rolling out.
Clear.
Coming back left. Stand by the gear. Hook. BrotherLeb, knock it off.
Clear.
Chariot's clear and clearing behind the crowd for the MRT State 88.
What's the 86?
Party. Chariot circling 5 miles for the MRT. And Chariot's turning in 5 miles for the MRT. Check barrow out. Four miles, mark 360. Three miles, mark 350. 5 to go. Two miles, mark 350. .5 MRT. 1 mile, mark 352. Burners now. Ready, hit it. Slow entry.
Flight controls.
Ease in the pull. Comes the pull. Pulling. Kicking. Chariot's pushing out. Leveling out 1,000. Coming right. Comes the pull. 062 or 242 rather. Ease in the pull. Rolling out. Smoke on. Smoke off. Easing power. 1.5 mark. 330. A little pull. 350. Souls around the crowd, setting up the opposing MRT.
You got it.
Chariot. Coming right. Comes the pull. A little more pull. Ease in the pull and rolling out. The opposing MRT. 5 right. Watch the hill.
Lab.
Easing power. A little pull to level. Smoke on the fleet.
Level high. Easing more power. Power set.
Smoke off.
Too fast.
Ready, hit it! Swung on. 380, mark.
A little fast.
Numbers.
Left. Contact.
Let go for sample on lab.
Observe.
On the power. Merge. Stand by, roll. Pull to 40. Stand by, roll. 1, 2, 3, and roll.
Clear.
Roll. Trace clear and clearing in front of the crowd for the opposing horizontal rolls. 2.7 mark.
Map.
Good adjustments.
.5. 4 miles.
Let me know when you're beam.
A beam.
Let me know where you take mark.
Go take it.
Stand by, mark it. Tree 2, eh?
4 miles. Mark 395.
Sure, it's in for the left vertical, left horizontal rolls.
What's in the lab? Horizontal.
Standard clears.
3 miles. Mark 410 willing. 2 miles. Mark 402.
Smoke on.
Contact.
Contact. A little pull. Ready. Hit it.
Roll right, roll right.
Burners. Pull. Stand by, roll. Burners. Pull. Ease in the pull and rolling out. 7-9.
7-9.
Nice. Chariots coming right and circling behind the crowd for the sneak 2 vertical roll state 7-1.
Lab. State 7-4.
Nice work, Lab. Let's get after it. Second half. Alright, I'm going to be over speed. Keep that in mind. Lots of power here. Chariot circling 5 miles, 2 vertical rolls. And Chariots turn in 5 miles, 2 vertical rolls, halfway between the sub and the pier.
Lab.
4 miles, 1.76.
0.2 behind.
3 miles, mark .81.
On top.
2 miles, mark .85 on the deck.
Pull up, pull up.
1 mile, mark .88, full burn.
Smoke on.
Chariots Slayer 9.5.
Ready. Hit. Stand by. Roll.
Oof. Oof. Lots of oofs.
Let's clear 10,000. No. Cause effect.
Clouds of Factor Airshow clear.
I show.
Chariot circling 4 miles for a solo loop.
Lips clear 12.
Chariot. Chariot's turning in 4 miles solo loop. Three miles mark. Wings level, smoke on. 100 high. Up. We go a little more pull. Adding power. Adding more power. Vertical 6-0, easing power. Easing more power, a little ease. Comes the pull. A little more pull. Ease the pull, adding power. Go, normal singer. Adding more power. Too far right. Smoke off. Chariot dash. Chariot dash, boss. Four miles mark. Let me know near beam.
Beam.
Let me know take mark.
Go take it.
Stand by mark.
Four miles. Mark 370.
Chariot's in for the right 4 point.
Up the right 4 point.
There he is.
3 miles. Mark 407 little angle.
Hell.
2 miles. Mark 395 little angle.
Smoke on.
Contact.
Contact smoke off. Ready, hit it! 1, 2,
All right, all right.
cross. 3, 4. Stand by, roll, and pull. Stand by, roll. Stand by, roll. Stand by, roll.
Clear.
Roll. Trace clear, and clear again from the crowd for the opposing vertical pitch. 2.2 mark.
Match.
That was nasty line up by me, sorry.
It's okay. I think I couldn't see you, so I might have rolled too early on the hit. 4 miles. Mark.
11 on your beam.
A beam.
11 on your take a mark.
Go dig it.
Stand by, mark it.
Little late. 4 miles. Mark 3.
Charts in for the left fork pitch.
What's it left?
50.
50. 3 miles. Mark 401.
Just 0.2 behind, working an angle.
Two miles. Mark 400.
On time. Smoke on.
Got it.
Pull up, pull up.
Contact. Add it up. Ready, hit it. Damn it. 60. Stand by, roll, and pull. Power's idle. 45, 40, 35, 30. Horizon. Now 8-2.
7-6 early. $2,000 low. Brakes are in.
Contact adding up the power. 1.5 Mark 430.
0.2 early.
1 mile Mark 440.
0.1 early.
Half mile Mark 430. A little pull. Ready, hit it.
All right, all right.
Stand by, roll, and pull. Damn it. Stand by, roll. Trace clear, and clearing behind the crowd for the inverted tug of roll.
Coming left. Easing power. 490.
Contact.
Correction. 390.
Contact.
370. Rolling out. Tom. Back. 365. Easing some power. 360. And we're rolling out. 350. Holding 350. Little power to catch.
You'll have 2 left.
Souls behind. Souls behind the crowd, setting up the invert circle roll.
Chariot.
Little power coming left. Coming further left. Adding a little more power comes the pull. A little more pull.
Do what you need.
Souls to the 90 for the inverted circle roll.
Chariot.
Further left. Easing power. Easing the pull. Rolling out the vertical roll. Easing more power. We're low. And up we go. Easing more power. Ready.
Smoke on.
Slow right.
Little drive.
Slow left.
A little more drive. Ready. Clear.
Smoke off. Stand by, roll. Pull to 10 degrees. Stand by, roll. Rolling out. Coming left.
Left inside.
Connect.
Ease and pull and rolling out. Common left 350. We'll pull to avoid the radio tower. 360. Easing out that pull. 365. 370. Easing power. 380. Rolling out. Easing more power. 385.
You got 2
And a
left.
little power catch. 380.
You got 2 left.
Left. So behind the crowd, setting up the section high up.
Chariot.
Sorry about that lineup. We're coming left. Coming further left. Easing power. Easing more power. Comes the pull. A little more pull. Stand by the boards. Boards. Pulling out a little bank. Souls of the 90 for the section high alpha.
Chariot overshoot.
A little pull. Easing the pull. Rolling out the section high up. We're 4 miles. Stand by the boards. Aboard. Adding a little power. 170. We're gonna hold it here. We're online.
Winds are 0 tree 8 for 4.
Coming a little right. 2.9. 165. Little power. And we're easing power. 160. Little pull. 155. 150. A little more pull. 145. 140 pull into the set. Adding a little power. A little more power smoke on. Easy little power fly in it.
Center point. Knock it off.
Left. Pull on a 60. Coming left.
Chariot's braking left, 270.
Contact.
290. 310, ease and power, ease and pull. 320. 335, ease and more power. 345, ease and more power, ease in the pull, and rolling out. 350, easing power to hold. It souls around the crowd, setting up the section breakout.
Heel lap, Chariot.
Chariot! That's terrifying, it's gone.
A little overshoot.
Adding a little power. Coming left. Coming further left. Adding power comes the pull. A little more pull. We're in a left-hand turn for the section breakout.
Left.
Easing power. Easing more power. Easing the pull and rolling out. The section breakout. A little inboard. A little drive. 2 miles. Mark. Smoke on. Easing more power. 1.5. Easing more power. 1 mile mark. We're 100 low. Half mile mark. Ready. Hit it. Smoke off. Stand by. Roll. And pull.
Contact.
Ease of the pull. Rolling out. Easing power. 360. A little pull.
Contact.
Chariot's at 7 degrees. 360.
Left.
2 miles mark. Easing power. Delta's behind the crowd. Setting up the Delta roll. Chariot 4-2.
Left 46. Heel lap, 2 boss.
Boss. Coming left. Coming further left. Comes the pull. A little more pull. We're at the 90 for the Delta roll.
Left.
Ease in the pull and rolling out. The Delta roll. Smoke on. Up. We go a little more pull. Ready break. Comes the pull rolling out.
Cruiser.
Ease in the pull. Coming back left. Comes the pull. Doesn't left-hand turn for the flip-lee.
Left.
Adding power. Smoke off. Ease and some pull. Coming further left, a little pull. Ease in the pull. Roll it out. The flirtly. Up we go. A little more pull. Smoke on. Brake. Smoke off. Stand by, roll. And pull. Correct.
Ease the boat and rolling.
Chair's coming right. Crossing your nose at 510. Mark! Ease and power.
Holy shit.
480.
Contact.
460 adding power to hold. Coming further right comes the pull. 465.
You'll have to check.
Chariot. Smoke on. Ease in the pull. Easing power. Easing more power. And rolling out. Up we go. A little more pull. Okay. Set. Okay. Set. Smoke off. Go get him.
Good. Right underneath you, 120, 360 at 3,000.
Connect.
380. We're coming right. Coming further right comes the pull. 380. A little more. Pull. Adding a little power. 375.
You got too low.
Lab. Ease and some pull. A little more right. Ease in more. Pull. And we're rolling out. We're pointed inboard. A little pull. Easing power. Rolling out. Little drive. Adding a little power. Up we go. A little more pull. Adding a little power. A little more pull. Vertical 6-1. Horizon now 9-2. Ease in the pull. Ready to break. Point 2 inboard. Smoke. Up. 0.5 mark 430. 1 mile mark 420. 1.5 mark 5 degrees no time 410. 2 miles mark 406 5 degrees. 2.5 mark smoke 5 degrees 490 or 402. 3 miles mark up we go 1500 4G mark. Vertical 5-2 8 alpha. Horizon now 7-9 power side. 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, rolling it. Stop. miles mark. And leveling out. 2.5, Mark 406. 2 miles, Mark 400. Boss is going to be 100.
Chariot 250.
1.5, Mark 400.
On time.
On the boat. 1 mile, Mark 4. Half mile, Mark 400. Smoke. Off. Clear.
Sure, sir.
Good work. Coming left. 380. 370. 360.
Connect.
355. Ease and power. 350. There's 350. And we're rolling out. 5 degrees. 340. Adding a little power. 335. We're coming left. Coming further left. Easing some
So
power.
cool.
Comes the pole.
You got 6, boss.
Boss.
That was
Easing
sick.
more power. A little further left. A little more. Pole. Delta to 90 for the Delta breakout.
Chariot.
Rolling out some bank. Coming further left comes the pole, easing lots of power, easing the pole, rolling out some on. We're 2 right, correction, 5 left.
Not bad at all.
Comes the pole. Ready to break. Set. Smoke. Off.
Left turn. Left turn out.
Left turn.
Chariot's 230 at 300.
Lab conduct.
315. Coming left comes the pole. 325. 330, easing power to hold.
You'll have 6-1.
Boss, we're in left-hand turn for the Delta flat pass, coming further left. Easing power. Easing more power. Coming further left comes the pole. Ease in the pole and rolling out the Delta flat pass 250 high, adding power. Wings level, smoke on. We're in for the flat pass. Center point. Coming left. Coming further left. Comes the pole. Adding power. Adding more power. Smoke off. Please it out.
Lab.
Landing checks.
Lab.
Ease in the pole. Check your altimeter set to radar. Check your landing light is on.
What?
A little pull. Easing power. Easing more power. Easing some pull. A little pull. Coming left. Easing more power. Comes the pull. Easing a little pull. Easing more pull. Adding a little power. Coming further left comes the pull. Ease in the pull and rolling out. The delta right. Pitch a brake to land.
Right brake kick.
Smoke on. Ease in the pull, a little drive. 10 fast. 10 fast. Center point, boss braking.
Let's work it.
Ease in the pull and rolling out. 195.
Let's roll out 195.
Smoke off. Gear and flaps. Coming right. Chariot's gear down, flaps down, hook up.
Labs, gear down, flaps down, hook up, order.
Chariot's at the 90, gear down, 3 in the green, updated winds are 038 for 4, stagger is right.
Stagger right.
240 leb.
Lab.
220 leb.
Fuel low.
200 leb
Fuel
overshoot.
low.
180 leb. 160 leb. 140 all the way leb.
That's 200. $180. 160 high.
Chariot's
And
okay.
140 all the way.
Chariot's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, you know, all things considered, that was pretty decent considering all the chaos that tends to ensue when we do a new show site. I liked it. Here's hoping the stream performed better this time.
And that's okay, Chariot.
Chariot. Landing checks.
Up.
Check your smoke pressure off, check your tabs, check your flaps auto, check your landing lines off, reset your trim and safe receipt.
Up.
We'll go well clear on the taxiway we ingressed via for... I'll figure it out when we get there.
Sounds good.
I'm guessing it's going to be left 180 and then individual left 90 Xena shocks.
Lab.
Chariots. Check your parking is off. Chariots powering up to 73%. Stand by right covered wagon. Off brakes now. Coming left. Give me 2 on the left wing.
Do what you need.
Lab. Nice flight.
Yeah, nice flight, Chariot.
I'll take that one.
Soldier in ball.
Ready, split. Reference 30 knots. Yeah, given all the chaos that just happened, I'm actually happy with that.
Yeah, it was alright for all that.
There's so much to adjust to at this show site.
That's insane.
Sorry about the inverted to inverted. That was complete mindfaff for me.
Yeah, I thought about jogging your memory, but we were like inside a mile, and I was like, not worth it.
Well, I realized it like at about 0.7, and I was like, well, can't fix that, so just gonna have to call some maneuver now. Realistically, should have just done a flat pass with smoke on.
Yeah, no maneuver flat pass.
Yeah, so there's definitely some safeties to fix. Chariot 60 and letting it roll. Little brakes. Easy brakes. Little more brakes. Off brakes now. A little more brakes. And coming right, go left wing. Coming further left. Or right, rather. Out of curiosity, can you see 2 and 3 on your left over there?
Yeah.
Well, do I have something? Do we have a show for you?
Yeah, I can see 4 jets, and they've got the right tail numbers.
I cannot see 4 jets, and I know what happened, and it's kind of hilarious. BrotherLeb, go well clear.
Lab.
As briefed.
Lab's clear.
Come in left. Coming further left. Little brakes. Easy brakes. Little more brakes. Off brakes now. Coming left for parking. Little brakes, easy brakes, little brakes, brakes. That's not great. Stand by, canopy and engines.
Lab.
And 3, 2, 1, mark. That's a show.
Levelicious.
Alright, coming up from under the hood.
Loud and clear. You were a flippin' UFO during the taxi. Like you were sliding around and so I don't know.
Yeah, that's a new one for sure.
Yep.
And so were 2 and 3 during the startup. So it was like
Huh.
right from the very beginning.
Interesting. It feels internet related because you're even roboting a little bit on Discord right now.
That's weird. I'm like, I have 0% outbound packet loss rate over the last 10 minutes
Huh.
and 44 average ping.
Sounds like it's on my end then. Which is not encouraging for filming if we do that.
I think it'll be fine once you stop streaming to me via the bridge.
And I have done so.
So, I think we'll be okay. Let's see. Because,
Cool.
like, with similar stuff last time we did this, like, once I stop streaming and you stop streaming, then our poor cable connections can recover. Alright. Also, who knows what kind of wonkiness happens when you roll back a version of DCS?
Oh yeah.
You know?
About that. But yeah.
So,
Totally, yep. Checks out.
there might be a netcode weirdness that is like some sort of desync. So, alright.
Oh boy.
What?
Nothing.
Dude, this room. I'm gonna need to
Yeah.
put my floor unit in here. It is the
Yeah.
hottest room in the house, by
Mhm.
far,
Mm-hmm.
and we're talking a delta of like 10 degrees.
Oof. Yeah. This room that I'm in is similar. I have no space to put a floor unit. But
Maybe a window unit then.
no, I don't want to invest in it. We're probably not going to stay here for too long, so.
That is fair. Alright, maneuver manual. I've got DCS up and running. Start the virtual
This show
camera.
started so well.
Hmm?
This show started very well.
What, do you think it fell apart?
It didn't fall apart, but it definitely got sloppier the longer it went.
I don't know, dude. I felt the beginning of the show was awful, personally. But that's just me. Alright. Alright, let's debrief this thing. Yeah, that was a show at the Novo Bay. This is a tough show site. It's always been a tough show site. I think we're better pilots now than the last time we flew this. So, a lot of things were improved. A lot better safety, a lot better accuracy. We flew better, like, we were better pilots this time, as far as how we handled our jets, and how we handled adversity. So, I like that. As far as major safeties are concerned, I definitely have one. For the fleur-de-lis, I definitely cut too close in front of your nose. I should have just gone below you. But I knew in my head that I would be clear, and I was, but it was still too close. So that's a major safety, and I'll fix it for next time.
Yeah. One additional reason why you can't do that is because I don't know that. So I was trying to deconflict that entire time, and I was like, is he going nose high? Is he going nose low? I don't know. So my instinct is to just push and try and, get underneath so I can keep sight. And that ended up pushing me into you more. So that was real sporty. But yeah, please do not do that again. Thank you.
All right. Shall we get started?
Yes, let's.
Alrighty. Taxi out felt fine. Lineup felt fine. As far as ground ops were concerned.
Yes, agreed.
No flap lower go. felt good on my end, and I'll talk about the line for the head-on in a moment.
Yeah, no out flat blower go is usually the best one of those I've ever done, so no notes there.
Great. I did make a small adjustment where I also work to keep aligned with you as we start going down the runway until I hit about 100 knots, so I think I'll keep doing that.
Yeah. I mean, normally I'm jockeying with throttle stuff a lot, and I just kind of set it, and it was fine, and I was like, well, I'm not going to move it because it's fine.
I
so.
jockeyed a smidge, because I know that you tend to jockey on this one, and so once I got it, placed where I felt like we were good, then yeah.
It's up to you. Just know that, like, if we get out of phase, it's going to probably make it worse. So.
I mean, if I feel like
if
we're
I'm trying to
phasing,
correct and you're trying to correct.
if I feel like we're phasing, I'm just gonna lock it in and make you deal with it.
Cool.
Okay. Delta head on. I didn't come far enough right. I'm supposed to come to the crowd right heading, but just felt like that was gonna take too long and take us too far away from the crowd. I was wrong. Dead wrong. We rolled off. We rolled out at about 090 and came back, and I thought that I'd have plenty of time to sight the boat and get us on center line. Not even close. We had to come back right. We were in close. I just need to trust the numbers that I came up with before jumping in to the jet, and just go all the way to that crowd right heading, and then come back at it. And that'll give me enough angle to find the head-on angles. So that's definitely something that I'll fix for next time. As far as the maneuver, like for the solos was concerned, I felt like we did this pretty well. I forgot where we crossed, but it was relatively close to center point, and I felt like the maneuver and the clears were good.
Might have been one right. But yeah, I could tell you were working some stuff with the lineup, and when you warned me we were gonna have to come back right, I kind of knew what to do, but it made getting actual line abreast once we rolled out a challenge, and we never smoked on, but I assume that was on purpose because we were still working stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the actual maneuver itself, like the circles and the hit, were really good. So no further notes there.
All right, knife edge. This was
actually, can I make one note? I was very high on my circle. You went down, I went up, and so that's something I just need to be more cognizant of, is climbing in that. All
yeah.
Right,
we're indexed up by quite a bit for the start of that, so we have to drop down into it over that hill. So I probably should have briefed that before we flew. So that's something that I'll fix for next time as well. Knife edge. I was trying to figure out some angles and some spacing on this one, and we ended up like 5 right for this. So that's on me. I'll fix that for next time. Yeah.
My major note for this was I was never clear, and I should have clarified when we were clearing behind crowd for one of the maneuvers at any point in the show, whether we were doing hits over the sub or whether we were doing it on the actual waypoint diamond. I never knew. I was flying you visually the whole time.
The diamond was not over the sub for you?
It was absolutely not. It was probably, I don't know, 200-300 yards outboard.
Oh, wild. It was right over the sub for me.
Huh. Okay. Well, it was definitely not for me. So, but knowing that it's right over the sub for you means that I would be willing to bet that that is a virgin-y weirdness.
We'll see.
So anyway, but I will fly the sub in the future, but I was not sure about that. The actual maneuver was all right. I might have overrolled a little bit, but not too bad.
Thomas, thank you for the compliment. The reason why we fly DCS over Microsoft Flight Simulator is, yes, it is the physics model. Microsoft Flight Simulator was not built to do... They claim that they built a physics model that recreates the actual physics of all aircraft ever. But it became very clear when they released the F-18 that the physics model was not built for fast jets. You can't, for example, in the F-18 in Microsoft Flight Simulator, you cannot perform a minimum radius turn the way that the Blue Angels do in the F-18 Super Hornet. It's not possible. So, that's... Trust me, we thought about it. It would be really cool to be able to fly all the real show sites that the Blue Angels fly, because you can in Flight Simulator. That would be amazing.
Yeah, with the real, like, visual reference points?
Yeah. Like,
that would be awesome.
Yeah. And maybe someday someone will come out with an F-18 that has a really good flight model in Microsoft Flight Simulator. But that day has not come, and so therefore we fly DCS.
I have the Heapler F-14. I'm curious what it's like in Flight Simulator. I don't want to spend the money to find out, but I am very curious, because I know what it feels like in DCS, and that would be a good one-to-one comparison, because it's as near as
you
can get the same exact thing.
Yeah, exactly. So that is, that's the bar. Like, it doesn't need to feel exactly like DCS, but it needs to be able to actually perform the maneuvers. And you cannot perform until an F-18 in Microsoft Flight Simulator can perform the MRT on parameters, like on the numbers. I'm not going to fly it, because in DCS you can. So that's
also, loops are super bizarre in the Microsoft Flight Simulator F-18.
Well, that's because the FCS is gamified.
Yeah, we thought about it, and we probably would have put up with Microsoft Flight Simulator F-18 for the coolness of being able to fly at the actual show sites and to be able to fly a Super Hornet, etc., etc. I know there's a Super Hornet mod in DCS, but it's the fact that we can't actually fly the maneuvers. Like, there's some that you just can't do.
Yep. Yeah, so someday, maybe, if someone makes a really good one. And it's got to be really good, and it's got to be reviewed by DCS F-18 pilots who say that it's good. Because there are a lot of optimists in the Microsoft Flight Simulator content creator community that tend to oversell things. And
also,
I appreciate them for what they do. I really, truly do. This is not a, like, diss on them, but I don't trust them with my purchasing decisions. I've been burned a couple times.
Yeah, and the DCS crowd is typically pessimists, so most of the ones that are serious about this show don't even fly the stock Hornet like we do, because they aren't happy with the way that it performs. And there are some things that are very frustrating about it, but you can still do the show. And
we are getting really good at it, which means it's right about time for ED to change the flight model.
Which they promised they're doing.
Which they said is like next update, so here we go. Alright, moving on. The invert to invert roll did not happen because I just spaced on it, I guess. You called 2 miles, and I was like coming into the box and smoking on, and like, I don't know, man. Just didn't happen. So I called a hit and a single roll, which I think that you were ready for, but realistically I should have called no maneuver, and we should have done a flat pass and came behind the crowd to set up for the Fortis. So that is a safety, and I'll fix it for next time.
Yeah, you were clear in your comms once you realized what you had forgotten. And so I was actually able to follow it pretty well. So I have no complaints about how you handled it once you realized what was going on. And I wasn't even really grumpy that you forgot it. It was just like, there was the point in between the 2 mile and the 1 mile mark where I was like, normally he calls a hit. and then you called smoke on, and I was like, oh, okay. And at that point I was ready for anything. I was like, if he calls us to an inverted, we'll go inverted. And you called a single roll, and you were very clear, so I was like, that's easy, and I was able to grab it. So no further notes. Good job making the adjustment once you realized what you'd done.
Yeah. All right. The Fortis. Rolling for this one is actually a little close, which is odd. That hasn't happened in a bit. So that's good to know for next time. And I lined us up outboard of the show because I knew that the wind was going to blow us towards the show, and it did, and we ended up going right over the boat. But we were also super low, so that's another safety that I'll take. Believe it or not, we were not below the minimum altitude of 200 feet, and we ended up climbing a smidge throughout the maneuver. We ended up at 260 before I rolled out. So it was not outside of parameters, but it's still unsafe and not what we've briefed, so I'll fix that for next time. I felt like the clears were fine, no further notes.
Yeah, I had a little trouble hiding the jet, which is mostly a me problem. There was a slight correction right in the very end game of the rollout that kind of caught me off guard. So I was like basically line and trail when you called rolling out, and so then I had to scoot over, but I made it work, and it was fine. Yeah, I think most of it, the rest of it, being able to get in, worked okay, and the clear felt like I was able to keep you in the right spot. So hopefully that looks good from the crowd. It would be hard to tell given altitude and how far away we are from wherever they're going to be watching it. But yeah, no further notes there.
Alright, so the MRT. I had a lot of trouble getting the lineup for this right, and coming down over that hill makes it hard to get the speeds right, so I was slow into the box when it came time to put the burners in. I was doing about 346, and you think 4 knots doesn't matter, but it really does when it comes time to break over center point. So I was slow. It was a slow entry by about 10 knots, which meant that, believe it or not, that actually makes the return itself faster because you can't bleed as much speed off. It's weird how it works, but the physics and everything, like if you think about it, it actually makes sense. So I was faster through the turn than normal. I was able to get down to about 315 before pulling at the 45 back over center point. And I think I kicked a little early. So I think my angle is a little shallow in front of crowd. I think there was a little bit of angle in front of crowd, but I'd have to go back and look at my heading tape to see. But the rest of the parameters of the maneuver were fine, and the turn behind crowd with the amount of power that we have at the show site was very quick. So it's something to just keep in mind for next time. Yeah, and the rollout and the smoke on were fine, no further notes there.
Yep, my only note here is that I was a little late on the going up, so I wasn't a beam until you were pretty rolled out, flat, about to start your turn. So from crowd, it's going to look like I'm pretty far behind. But I was able to keep sight of you the whole time for the rest of the maneuver, and so that's good enough for the notes.
Posing minimum raise turn. Because of all that chaos that happened in the actual minimum raise turn, it's a little bit behind the show starting this maneuver. So the calls behind crowd were pretty nasty, so that's something that I'll work on for next time. We had to climb up over the mound that's right behind 04 on at Novo, which is something I actually didn't expect us to need to do. So that led to some wonkiness in the turn. We rolled out 5 right, which is totally fine, and made a couple of adjustments. And I pulled us up to level at 750 feet at about 405 knots, decreasing a smidge by the time I handed over lead. So we didn't actually talk about whether we were going to descend into the hit, but based on what happened after the handoff, it seems like that was your intention. I had a hard time staying on plane with you as far as like a vertical plane with you as we came over the crowd, just because I was just struggling to stay with you. And I left it actually a little bit later before we rolled because of how far it is from crowd to center point. And I actually think that worked out. Once we did the roll and pulled to the right angle, I feel like we had enough room to pull in towards center point and get back there without over pulling the jet or having to go inboard, which has happened sometimes at these shoreline show sites. So I feel like that was a good adjustment, probably one that could have been briefed. You were ahead, and we added up power, and I think the hit's going to be pretty decent. I'm not sure where, based on center point it was, but I had a head of steam, so that made the rolls quite snappy by the time we finished them up, but they're pretty clean, no further notes.
Yeah, I was a little behind because of a couple of different factors you already mentioned in the turn. So by the time you handed me a lead, I was still sliding up your wing line, which meant I had about 10 knots over speed. So when you handed it to me, I had 415 in the box and had to pull power back. And then we just kind of bled speed into the box. And I had a slight nose down attitude, and I just didn't adjust it, which sounds like you were half expecting. So that was fine, especially given we were so high. I did, as far as like vertical, like staying in plane, I noticed that at this show site, at least for me, if you were flying straight and level, I had to have a chunk of drive in, or at least it felt like I was deflecting the stick forward just a little bit, and I was constantly frustrated by that during form flying. So if you're having trouble in this maneuver, I wouldn't be surprised. Because I fly line abreast a couple of different times in the way that we're doing the sort of remote show. Yeah, I was really fast initially and had to like pull real hard and pull out a little bit of power to get to the numbers, but then I was able to hold the numbers really good. But then I could tell at the 90, I was like, I'm ahead. And so I'm glad that I communicated it because I slowed down to about 350 knots. And then you sped up and we were able to make that hit work basically right on center point. I was a little too close to crowd. I wasn't quite tucked in to you because I was trying to basically burn more time. But that meant that I had the inverse problem that you did with the rolls and things where I was just slow and sluggish. But yeah, I think the corrections we made were good, and all things being equal, I don't think the rolls were bad. They were just a little slower than they would have otherwise been. So you're probably hanging out inverted a little longer than I was. But yeah, no further notes. I think the corrections were good. I'm actually proud of the corrections we were able to make.
Yeah. If either of us mentions something about spacing, usually I think the way that I interpret it is that like it means do something about it to the other person.
Yeah, I was already, I had slowed, I could tell because I was at 380. I was like, man, if I get under about 340, it's just going to be really hard to fly this thing because I could tell I was ahead.
Yep.
There's like, I can't go closer to the crowd after a certain point.
Yep.
We're really low to the water. So I was like, I don't want to bring tons more power out. So I was bringing power out, and between the two of us, I think that was helpful. But yeah, generally, it was, I didn't communicate this, but you interpreted it the way I meant, which is like, help me out a little
Yep.
bit.
Thomas, I'm sure both of us will fly Microsoft 2024, and I'm sure both of us will jump in the F-18 as well. But I don't have a lot of faith that it's going to be vastly different based on some of the reviews, some of the impressions that we've gotten from the previews that have come out for 2024 up to this point. DCS does have wake turbulence, but it's horrendously not accurate because similar to Microsoft Flight Simulator, when you turn on wake turbulence, you cannot do maneuvers like the Fortis. Because the jets can't fly near each other, otherwise you end up getting ripped out of the sky. So we have it turned off.
Yeah, there's this like cone behind the jet where your jet,
around the jet, not even behind it.
where the jet sort of like, it's not even it pushes air out of the way. It's not a physics simulation. It's just like, here, your controls don't work like you're used to. And so
it's a vortex generator.
We tried to fly that and get used to it, but there's some like random number generator things in there, and it's a very difficult thing to account for. And also you cannot fly, you can't fly slot.
Nope.
You can't really fly on the wing very easily because the way that the vortex generator works is it's pushing you away from lead until lead banks away from you, and then it sucks you in really hard. And there's also this like tip over point when you
Mm-hmm.
get a certain distance away from lead where suddenly it's like falling off a cliff.
Yeah.
And so it's just really hard to predict. And we don't have seat of the pants feel like a real guy does. So even if it was closer to real, it would be more predictable, I think, but it wouldn't be easy. But the unpredictability of it is the big thing. As far as Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, I hope we're wrong and that they have a really great F-18 in there. That'd be awesome. But it sounds like they didn't really do a whole lot to the flight modeling.
And it also
It seems
sounds
like
like they
mostly
didn't. Yeah.
graphical and feature updates, not like actual core.
I know they say that it's all new physics model and everything, but that's what they said last time. And people discovered that it wasn't really. So, and also there's a whole bunch of other things beyond just the physics model that needs improvement for the fast jets. So, I hope that we're proven wrong. Moving on to the horizontal rolls. These actually felt great. No notes.
I had a lot of angles that I was working to get in for this one, and I remember coming around the corner and being like, oh damn it, I don't know if we're on the sub or on this waypoint that I've got that's not over the sub. So I think I was kind of in funny parameters here, but the actual maneuver itself was pretty solid. I do think we hit just a couple to the right, and I am definitely low because I misread your pull. So I think I was a little fast coming into the box, and I definitely misread your pull, which is something I need to fix for next time because that just doesn't look good from the crowd. No further notes.
Thomas, yes, we are both using spring sticks. In fact, the same spring sticks, just with different attachments. The sneak pass. I got a little bit too low for this one, believe it or not. I think I was below 10 feet, and that's a little too low. I think, like, realistically, like, 8 feet is kind of the lowest I'm comfortable with. I think I was, like, closer to 4. I'm sure it looks really cool, but I definitely almost had a bird strike coming in. Screamed past some seagulls.
Those are the map birds, though. They don't exist.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
Just look like they're there.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, it was a good maneuver. No note.
I was worried I was going to be a little early. First I thought I was going to be late, but then I thought I was going to be early once we were getting close. But the timing ended up being great, and I cleared dead away from crowd, which was good. So no notes.
Nice. Line abreast loop. A little chunky on the controls, but it ended up being a really nice floaty loop over the top with a very clear, like a very smooth rollout at a good altitude as well. So that's great, but I was like half a mile right, so I guess I can go up a little bit later, which is a little bit of a surprise considering everything else that's happened before. But yeah, that's it for that one. The 4-point, man, this was nasty for me. I was all over the place with speeds and angles, and I went to the wrong heading and had to go fix that, and I was still fixing angles within 1.5 miles. So, like, I rolled out and smoked on and was like, well, I'm out here like a good quarter-mile separation from him, but I guess we just have to live with this at this point. So that's why it took you so long to find me in the sky.
Yeah, it's also just hard looking that direction.
It is. Yeah, but the 4 points themselves were fine. We hit like 5 right, so it took a while inverted before rolling out for this. So that's on me. That's my job to fix, along with the horizontal spacing, so I'll do both of those, fix both of those for next time, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I kind of had some lineup issues myself coming in for this one, and was sort of struggling to figure that out and get the site picture that I needed, and then the perennial like, is it the sub, is it the diamond, and then because you were in a weird spot angle-wise, and I didn't realize you were having those issues, and I was like, well, it must be the sub because I was lining up on the diamond, but then you were really far like crowd side of the sub, and so I was like, okay. And so I tried to just basically make it an even distance between the sub and you, or rather between like between the sub and you, like I tried to match that distance on the other side of the sub. I was completely unaware of how far right we hit, um, and I rolled. So I need to be a little. My assay could be a little higher there, and then I definitely rolled too quickly on the first two 90s. The second two, I think the timing was a little better, but the first two was a little too quick. So need to slow those down. No further notes.
Thanks for coming, Thomas. And I appreciate the fact that you appreciate the content. It's a very niche thing. But
Yeah. And thanks for the suggestion for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I really wish it was better and worked for us because it'd be awesome.
And we hope it will be. You know, that would be awesome.
It's definitely possible.
And
we don't feel like it's likely, but it's definitely possible.
And I'm sure we'll fly some GA together in 2024.
Provided the headsets work.
Yeah. That's a whole. I don't want to think about that right now. All right, vertical pitch. This was pretty good. I was still working some angles and some timing coming into the box. We hit about 4 right, which was fine. Going up the hill and the rollover and the pullover were about what I would expect the cadence to be. You were like 800 low and early. So once I saw that you were low as well, I put in the power, and we crossed and probably did about 5 right on the next hit. So that's kind of a bummer. It'd be kind of cool if we could, like, it's cool that we're like crossing at the same point, but it'd be cool if we could, now that we're getting good at that, start to adjust it to try and hit center point, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So we're gonna have to start doing some mental math on that. But all things considered, I think it's good that we're consistently crossing at the same point for the beginning and end of the maneuver. Clears were fine, aside from being a little slow. No further notes.
Yep. Lineup was great. I felt like dead on the whole way down and in. Able to get on the power. I like the altitude was good. The pull up was good. Roll was like just the right rate. I don't feel like I pulled that differently. But yeah, then I ended up being like 800 low, which is just weird. And like you were calling like horizon now, and I didn't want to push real hard because I was like, oh, this is working out. And then, you know, horizon. Then I cross the horizon, and then you're like now, and I was like, oh, frick. And then you called your altitude, and I was like, oh my gosh. So clearly I had screwed something up. I think it looks like based on the TAC view, I was just slightly slower than you. Because maybe you're trying to speed up to get into the box on time because you knew that hit was going to be wrong. And I definitely pulled more than you by about 0.4 Gs. I pulled 0.22 and you pulled 0.18. So I think I just need to ease off more. And then when you start calling those pitch ladder things, like I can fix late. It's hard to fix early. You basically have to fix early. But we were able to make the timing work way down the hill. But I'm with you. It would be nice if we could figure out how to fix the hit so we can get on center point. But that's a pretty complicated math problem. So it'll take some working.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm happy with the adjustments we made. But I would like to improve those for next time. Glad to be here.
All right, inverted tuck over roll. I was doing pretty good. Rejoin was good. And I was doing pretty good lined up with you until we got inverted. And I am just not... Well, first off, my roll to inverted was late. And I just oversped you as well. So I ended up line abreast quite early and just hung out there for the rest of the maneuver. I think altitude was okay. I think it was a little high. But yeah. It comes and goes, this maneuver, and I'm kind of frustrated about it, so maybe once we're done with the video project, some more dedicated practice sessions on this would be good. Clear seemed fine, no further notes.
Yeah, I feel like lineup was all right. I was really low, like we kind of scraped out of the bottom of this thing and then climbed back up for it. So the whole thing was just a little low, and we were going pretty quick, so I pulled power out when we were coming. I can't remember if it was when we were inverted or when we were going up the hill initially. So I think that probably has to do with your overspeed. I did call it, but it's just not standard, and I don't know how consistent it was. because I could tell once we got inverted we were losing knots quicker than I intended to. We started off really fast. We were like 420 inverted, but then we bled speed to like down to 360 or so by the time we did the roll.
Whew.
So we bled a ton of speed, which is my bad. So I'll definitely fix that for next time. That's a safety for sure. It's like 380. That's okay, but still, at least that's what TACView thought. Another thing I think that yeah, so like the being low and a little nose low in the inverted was a problem, and that I had to correct it. So there was just a lot of corrections in there that didn't make your job very easy. And then also, last note that I have is that I like called the hit about half a mile early. So I just need to wait for that more. I think I was kind of collecting the maneuver after I screwed up a couple of those inbound parameters, and so I just need to actually do the hit on center point instead of 5. Well, however many right that was. So I will fix those safeties. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. The longer I can get inverted, the better of a chance it looks good. So yeah. The longer we can wait for the hit, the better it'll look. So yeah. But you made good adjustments overall to try and get us back into parameters, given everything that was weird. Yeah, section high alpha. I'll just go over this really quickly. This one felt really good. I oversped you in the turn. I just chucked a bunch of power in when I didn't need to, partway through the corner, and just couldn't get back into formation. So I just ended up flying like essentially line abreast with you, or like in plane with you, all the way around the corner, and it was fine. It's not the end of the world. I've done it before, but it's just not super safe. The solution to that is to ease my pull a little bit and do a little bit of additional circumference to get you to overspeed me, and then I pull back in, bleed off some speed with the pull, and then get it back into formation. So I just didn't do that. So that's something that I'll fix for next time, is the overspeed. But once we got on profile and in line, I was as locked in as I've been in a hot minute, both spacing and position. So you might have noticed that I left the knock it off until a little bit later, and that's because of the parallax to the crowd, given the fact that the crowd is further away from center point than normal. Because I want we're looking for a certain sight picture on the nozzles when you go up to 60. So I left it a little bit later to try and get that parallax to look good. The clear behind crowd was good. No further notes.
Yeah, major note here is that the lineup was just a little acute, pointed back to our crowd. So there's about a 330 on the heading tape, and then knowing that wind was blowing us. I gave us enough spacing laterally outward that you actually basically flew right over the sub.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you did that when my waypoint was like 300 yards to the right of that, like outward, is actually kind of impressive. So I'm rather pleased with the way that went. I was doing a little bit more adjustment to power to try and get the VSI into a spot that I wanted and actually get an altitude that I wanted. So I was thinking like I was about 370, and I was like, can I work this down to 350? And apparently you were able to hang, so it was sort of an experiment on my end. And I did notice the delay, but I was so comfortable in the high alpha, and we were like chugging along there, that I was like looking around. I was like, oh yeah, there's a crowd over there, and Chariot's over there, because it was just like the jet was just happy as a clam.
Yep.
So good maneuver, clear was fun, no further notes.
All right. Rejoin for the burn 270. This one actually felt pretty decent, aside from us being a little low and fast. But we had enough time. The turn was good. I could sight the field. The rollout was fine. We had enough time to get lined up and line abreast and smoked on and everything. We were a little bit inboard, but that's also okay for this maneuver. And a smidge fast. The turn behind crowd felt good. So could I be more accurate? Absolutely, and I'm definitely going to work towards that. Seek perfection. but I would call this success given the troubles that have been happening over the last 6 to 9 shows. So I think this is a trend in the right direction.
Yep, major notes here, so we can just keep moving eyes. So the overspeed on the rejoins, kind of flying line abreast in the initial turn. And then the rollout to line abreast, I was just a little, like a little sucked and a little wide. And I was able to work it in as we got closer to center point. And then also that drive I was talking about. Usually there's a little bit of drive to roll out to wings level and abreast in maneuvers like this. So I was anticipating that, and I just happened to have it set in the right spot, but I was noticing it. This was like, oh geez, there's a lot more drive in this than I feel like there should be. So that was the first time I noticed it, but I thought it was maybe just this maneuver because the jet will kind of float in this one. But that would come back to haunt me later. But yeah, no further notes. I feel like the rest of the maneuver is pretty solid.
Delta roll.
Safe clear too, which I was worried about.
Oh yeah. Delta roll. Had to make a lot of adjustments to make this maneuver work. Had to go over that hill behind the crowd and drop us back down in over it. And because of that, we ended up rolling very high. And even though I rolled slower than normal, we still rolled out very high. But at the same time, we just scraped over the top of that mountain. So I think that's actually the safe delta roll. I might try something different next time, maybe rolling us a little bit earlier so we can get down lower before we come back up over the hill. But all things considered, I think this is a fairly safe delta roll. And as far as the speeds were concerned, we were pretty much on parameters for what I expect for the delta roll given this flight model at the moment, so no further notes.
Yeah, so my goal for the show is to fly a safe show, and I'll give myself a beat for that. And once we got into formation, that drive, I didn't identify it early enough. And so there were just a lot of minor wing climbs, and this maneuver was the first of those. On the rollout, I just climbed over the wing. I managed not to in the actual roll itself, but I didn't catch the roll rate very well, and so I ended up falling out on the second half of the roll, smoking off and just sort of like trying to stay roughly in phase and in position. But it was a bummer because I felt like, oh, I'm kind of sticking with him in the first like 45, and then there were just a couple of things that got out of whack, and I couldn't fix them all at the same time. So there's plenty to work on here, and there's safety as well, so I'll fix that. I'm glad to be here. But yeah, I think the parameters that you had was followable, and like, I don't know, honestly I didn't notice there was that much different about it, aside from the speed of the roll itself, because I was trying to work enough stuff on my end of things. But yeah, no further notes.
Fleur-de-lis turn behind the crowd was more or less fine, but I completely misread the boat and the angle needed. I realized as we were at the 90 that we were going past the correct angle. So I was like, well, shoot. So put in a little bit more pull and had us roll out, and we were only about 15 outboard, which sucks, but given where the crowd is, it wasn't unsafe or anything, and we were actually more or less perpendicular to the piers. I thought about mentioning it, but I just couldn't find a time in the cadence to mention it, and it wasn't that important. I don't think it affects what we do behind the crowd that much, so I just kind of gave up on mentioning the fact that we were angled outboard by quite a bit. But we were also fast, and I ran out of time to mention that as well, so it's way out of parameters, and I'll fix that for next time. This is where the big safety happened. I've already mentioned it, and I'll already fix that for next time. As far as rolling out for the up we go, it was too low over that last office building. So that's another safety that I'll fix for next time. I felt like the angles were okay, and the rolls to each set were very slow, but it ended up punting us out at a pretty decent angle and at a pretty decent altitude, so it might feel like that in the future, but I'm guessing we're going to be a little slower than we were, so hopefully the sets will be a little quicker, and we'll spend less time in this maneuver as a whole. I'll fix my safeties, and I'm really glad we're both still here.
Yeah, I was like pissed off about the way the Delta roll worked, so I was like locked in on the turn for the fleur-de-lis and was like making pretty good corrections. Even some of those late stage corrections in the rollout, I was more or less able to catch, come in line abreast for that last, like the last 10% of that. It's just like so hard to match all those parameters because it's such a dynamic, like you're rolling out, you're pulling up, there's power calls, and so like I more or less stayed in, but it was just like I was stirring the soup to get it to work. So I made a big adjustment a couple of shows ago to roll to 60 instead of 45. And now I'm not rolling as much as you are. Or I'd rather, now I'm rolling more than you are. So I think we need to decide and make sure we're hitting that.
Let's do the 45, because I think that's actually what they do.
Okay.
I'll make that adjustment. You go back to what you're doing.
And then the safety, I have some responsibility in this, and I did not pull any power in the turn. And normally I'm idle in the turn. So I was carrying a decent amount of like knots, and so I created the problem, even though, like, yeah, the safety like was generated by the fact that I didn't give you the room that you normally would have. So I will fix that for next time, and I'm glad we're here as well. I did notice the office building. That was spooky, but I was like, I'm here now. Yeah, I was kind of shaken up from the close pass, so it wasn't my smoothest, tightest over the top, but I more or less stayed in the right spot. So it'll be interesting to see what it looks like from the crowd. All right, loop across. I need to find a parallax or an angle reference so that I can line the sub up with something and know what the right heading needs to be visually. Not because if I do it by the heading tape, it's usually too late. And so I didn't have one, and so I couldn't quite tell where online was. I felt like, oh, we're in close. And so I pulled a ton, and then we ended up pointed toward crowd instead of actually being on the show line. And so that kind of threw a lot of the initial numbers for the maneuver off. And I wasn't able to get like set and with the power set where it needed to be for the up we go. So there was a little more adjustment in the initial maneuver than there should be. There's also just a slight right roll in the whole thing, which I did not notice at the time, but you could tell it in the TAC view. And I could tell once we like came over the top and I was looking back down at center point. I was like, why are we here? And it wasn't super far off, but it was just like not where you normally are if you do a perfectly straight roll. Could also be the wind, but I don't think it's entirely the wind. Yeah, so we ended up breaking inboard from crowd, but more or less on center point, maybe a one left. And so I should probably call that, but it was kind of hard to tell from where we were. Because my center point was not where the ship was, I couldn't tell whether or not me saying those number, like how far we were off from that point, was going to be accurate. Anywho, outbound calls were all over the place, comms wise, because there's like a million things going on. I was trying to, I flew the maneuver, but I didn't do the comms when I did it earlier today. And I should have practiced those because adding those extra things took up a lot of brain space and time that I didn't account for. And so I will improve that for next time. I think the inbound was pretty good. I didn't call the, here's a big safety though. I didn't call in the altitude I was going to try to hit on the inbound, so I had to call it, or sorry, on the inbound for the maneuver. So I had to call it after the Immelman, which you need to know long before that. And so that's a big safety, and I will definitely fix that for next time. Glad to be here.
Yeah. after after Go Get 'Em, I rolled out and you were way further underneath me than you usually are, which was interesting. But that was fine. I was able to pull up and get into the right spot and able to slot right in next to you. I was surprised at how much pull you put in, considering the fact that I gave you a 1-2-2 heading and we're rolling, like, the roll over the top puts us pretty far outboard, but I was like, whatever, he's looking at it and I'm not, so, and I'm flying his paint. So it didn't surprise me when you said that we were pointed inboard, and I was curious to see if you were going to try and, like, do some late stage corrections to fix it. And while you were doing a lot of communication, like, we didn't end up coming back right or anything like that, so that was kind of nice. Up the hill, I was more or less with you. Got a little bit sucked after the vertical, and then over the top, it felt pretty good, and I was in a pretty stable position. Once we broke, I didn't believe my heading tape. I rolled the 1-2-2 and it felt like it was perpendicular to show line. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to fly the numbers because that's what you got to believe in. And it was right. It just really doesn't look like it when you're coming down the hill.
Yeah, because you're parallel to the coast.
Yep. And it just felt wrong. But, yeah, so that was all fine. I was able to match whatever it was you were talking about outbound pretty decently. And then over the top, I was doing a ton of jockeying to more or less line up with where you were, because I didn't want to get as off as I've been in the past. And that actually ended up working out pretty well. I was able to match you pretty solidly coming back inbound. I try to match your distances and not your speeds, because sometimes, depending on angles and stuff, it can be vastly different, and it was this time. But I think I made the hit more or less on center point. So yeah, I mean, considering the amount of craziness that's going on at the show site in this maneuver, I consider that a success. No further notes.
Yeah, my major note for the Delta breakout is that I just didn't believe in myself that I'd set up the turn right, so I rolled out a little bank about at the 90, and I shouldn't have. So we ended up being pretty far to the crowd right for the hit, so we're not pointed back towards center point, we're pointed crowd right. Which is, if I had not rolled out any bank, we would have been dead on it. So for next time, I'm just going to have to trust that I've got the angles figured out and I'm doing the right thing. Other than that, it's probably pretty representative of the way that maneuver is going to work in the future. No further notes.
My rejoin for this was sick. Like, freaking awesome. I didn't quite get, tucked close in quickly, but, man, did I park it, right in the right spot to, scooch back in. It took me a while to get, fully tucked in the turn because of the amount of adjustments that were happening. And you just got to be real gentle with it. Catching the rollout, I'm really glad I've done a quick rollout on the right side, going to line abreast multiple times, because it was quick, and it was clear that it was going to be quick, and I had to remember what you have to do when it's a quick rollout on the right side to go line abreast. And I was like, how do you do? Okay, yeah, I got this. So I was able to get more or less on plane with you and flew pretty well line abreast until the breakout. That felt pretty good. Yeah, so out of that came the Delta Flat Pass. Not the line abreast flat pass. There it is, the Delta Flat Pass. So all things considered, this felt pretty decent. We were a little high and had to make a little bit of a late pull into the box, and we were a little bit off angle, but that was okay. Once we rolled out, we rolled out at about 1.5, and so I just set my controls, hit the smoke on, and just let you fly it. We ended up climbing because of the add of power right before we smoked on, but I didn't want to add any more drive to try and fix it. I was just like, nope, we're set. We're just going. It's fine. Yeah, so I felt like that worked pretty well. It was a gentle left turn out of the flat pass until we smoked off and started to set up for the pitch break to land. Now for the notes.
Yeah, rejoin was pretty good. I got like pretty close and then just had trouble getting those last few feet in because of that side picture is, I haven't flown it in a minute. And yeah, left wing is a party. So that was a thing. And then just the amount of drive, like for the rollouts, for the roll in, like coming left, like if you turned into me or you rolled out away from me, like there's just so much drive.
Yep.
And
Left wing
then
is all
also,
about the drive. Doesn't matter whether it's a Showsite or not.
yeah. And then the other thing that was weird about it was, yeah, once we got level, you added power. I added power because I was getting sucked. I was pulling back along your wing line, losing my paint site picture. But when I did it, like the amount of pitch up I got was crazy. And so, yeah, it's not smooth over the center point, which is a bummer. But yeah, it wasn't dangerous. It just wasn't. It was sloppy, and so I'd like to fix it for next time. No further notes.
So the Delta pitch up break to land was more or less what I expected it to be. It just took us longer to get there, but I was able to sight the field for quite a while, and was able to sight the field pretty well when we came around the hill. I had too much pull in it, believe it or not, as we were coming around the hill. So that's a note for next time. I'll just leave us hung out in a gentle turn until I can sight the field because I have more time than I expected to have. So that's a great problem to have, and one that I will fix for next time. The right pitch up break itself was pretty decent. I think we rolled out on the wrong angle. I think we're a little bit shallow on that angle. Just a smidge, so probably just another 5 degrees outboard was going to help. So I'll take a look at what that angle is for next time and fix that as well, especially because I overshot coming into land. But once I got lined up, it was all good. My comm cadence for the first time ever is actually reflective of what Boss does when he is in the comm cadence for the pitch up break to land, so I'll take that as a win. And I felt like I picked a good stagger as well. So all of those I consider to be successes, with the minor niggle of the angle once we do the break. So I'll fix that for next time, and I'm glad to be here.
Major notes. Once you got wings level, and I knew that you weren't going to change anything else, I called take it in and then just struggled. So that was a bummer. And then I was just a hair late on my actual pitch up, so just a little slow. And then I didn't pull enough power out, and so you called for gear and flaps, and I was still doing like 330, and I'm like, I can't put the gear and flaps down yet. So I had to bleed off more speed to do it, and I should have just thrown out some boards to get down there, but I didn't. So that means I was really like wide and like late. It was just too far from you. So yeah, the timing is going to be quite slow for the landing. So I will fix that for next time. Glad to be here. If you are curious what that heading should be, it should be 190. You called 195 if you want a little bit more out. 190 would be what you want.
Great. 190 will be awesome. I will do that. Alright, let's go watch the tape. I'm going to make it quick. Wow, we have done a lot of filming. Alright. Caucus of shows. Yeah, once we stop shuffling, 20 megabits of video down our pipelines while we're flying, I think that the ground troubles should sort themselves out. We're kind of smashing these cable connections.
Yeah.
Alright, let's just go set up for the no flap lower go. Confirmed with Mike, he is going to be at winter training next year.
Nice.
Wow, that is not what Okay. Because we have a new boss next year.
Yeah. Armitage has already had 2 years?
Yeah, he has.
That's wild.
Oh, there it goes.
Whoa.
You see what I'm talking about? This is what's starting to happen to me.
What? Wow.
This is my track file. This is why I was making exclamations during the takeoff.
I thought I'd like royally screwed up some part of the briefing. I was
Nope.
like, what is he laughing at?
I'm just because if it does, then it breaks the track file, and then that's that. This is the best. So I was like, well, we'll see how this goes.
Yep.
Right there. Okay. I was just super close in, but be further than I was away from you. So, yeah, I'll fix that for next time. All right, no flap blower go time. Here we go. Classic lag timing issue. Really cool. To the show site. It's based off of
Not that pier.
this pier.
Pierre Gasly.
Be fine.
That's so high.
Well, I mean, like, what do you
I
want?
know.
If
I
I'm
know.
down here, we can't see any.
I know.
Trying to make this work. There's me overshooting it. This is so. Gosh. We're also doing.
Really? I wonder it took so long to get down to 380. That's gotta suck, that push. That and the one after the OMRT.
They don't do that push anymore.
What do they do?
Like, they just roll to their heading. Nasty clear. I overshot it by like 5 degrees. Ah, you're right. I forgot about. There he goes. When I rolled. That looks pretty good, dude.
Yep. It doesn't look line of rest like it's supposed to, but the spacing looks decent.
Alright, MRT time.
Yep. Ooh, nice. This is what it felt like at Corpus Christi, though, because there's a bunch of buildings behind us. And so it's just like, they're going to pop out somewhere. I know they are. Nice. Yep. Sick. Nice. Good adjustments. Did you smoke off there for a second at center point? Okay. I must have just got caught on the horizon line.
Oh, you see how the jet? I was like, yes, that's the right amount of push. Rolls.
Does that take it? Oh, hey. Altitude is good. I thought I was going to be super low. It was only just maybe a half a jet low.
Yeah. These are.
Time to clean fishes out of your intakes.
I told you about the Air Force base, um, in North Carolina, where Six had to change his pull rate to go.
No, that's cool though. I want to have to do that kind of problem solving. That's neat.
Look at this. Oh, beautiful. And then this disaster.
I had one of those earlier in the show. I don't remember which maneuver, but
1, 2.
yeah, I was rolling behind that second set. I couldn't see you.
Oh yeah, I didn't give myself enough angles for this one. In
Pull up, pull up.
There's so much that's just habit that we do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, all right.
Here, we'll see the kip up.
Too long. Whee.
All right, roll right.
Yeah.
Roll left,
So-
roll left.
Mm-hmm. Timing's great.
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh, big overroll. I'm watching you. I guess I should look into the HUD for that home run.
There's the pull to the set. Yeah, and everything you were doing about like altitude, I don't notice it. It's like you can ease stuff down and stuff like that. It's not a problem.
Okay. Good to know. No, it'll be very, very minor.
Stable. Oh, that's awesome looking.
Yep. Nice, but nice.
Should be right about here.
It's flat clear.
Hands.
A little more pull. Okay, good enough.
Nice.
Oh yeah, no, I thought about that because I turned and I looked and I was like, oh yeah, there's that radio tower. We got a hill. We got all sorts of stuff.
Yep. It was a party. I was like, I pulled up to like 13 degrees climb.
It's funny in the jet that didn't feel scary.
You're like 3/4 of it.
Yeah, I just got a little sucked, a little wide.
Yep.
And honestly, it's just because I didn't catch that initial pull onset at the same rate. Like if I can get that, and then as long as I got my power set, I don't get too sucked in the first like the up the hill portion, then I'm usually good. But
Scooby Dooby Doo
it's
around the corner.
very difficult. It's pretty stable, less bobbly stuff than I normally have. Hate this one. Nope.
Go. At these show sites, this is the coolest thing.
Yep. It's about the right spacing. Okay, that's good. Looks like it should.
Very slow. You're so fast. Yo.
Yeah, because I was doing some stuff with the rudder to kind of stabilize when you held it at the on the knife edge, and then you know turned, and so I had to switch which rudder was full and do some stuff to figure it out. So I was just happened to have the wrong inputs at the wrong time. I caught it, but it was just like it was close.
Up we go. A little sucked. Right about there. Thomas, what do you mean by done the Chicago show? Like, have we ever been to it? I don't think I...
I don't think I ever did. That's stupid.
You could now.
Yeah, it's true. Okay. Yeah, that's a great show. The trick is getting a good spot to watch it.
No kidding. There's that 5-degree climb. With all the stuff I was doing, you don't even... That's hilarious. Alright, let's go look.
I like how the sub kind of hides behind the dock.
Mm-hmm. Please, 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 please. Oh, one right. Alright, fine.
It's not bad.
Alright. This team just right there.
Nice.
I was like, of course he starts turning left right there. In sim, no. We don't really have a way to simulate. I mean, I guess we've done Palm Jumeirah, which is the closest you could get to.
We
Wow,
could do.
look
Yeah.
at that. That drop down. That's so cool.
There are cities that we could like. There are some in the Syria map
Yeah.
that we could do that are.
And we've scoped some of those.
Like
Thomas, you're talking a lot about Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I appreciate that. You're getting.
That's pretty good. Good pulse. Good rolls and pulse. Nice. We literally cannot do this in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It is impossible. We have tried.
Developer for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I have some people that you can talk to who are former F-18 pilots who would love to help you improve the feel of the jet.
There's that. Yeah. Yeah, the first thing you have to do almost in every maneuver, unless boss rolls away from you, is drive.
Yep.
You don't roll. You don't do any rudder
Yep.
weird stuff. You drive.
That is left wing. Alright. Go to our landing site now. Meow.
I'm definitely not as comfortable with. Yeah, just a second.
That's not it. Ka-chunk. Gears coming down. Betty starts getting mad at me.
Fuel low.
On center line. Curse. park. And engines. Do you and brake. Nice. Alright. I don't think I'm going to watch the rest of Taxi because it was wonky.
Sounds good.
Alright. In which case, Thomas, we are going to head out. But thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, thanks for keeping us company, sir.
We hope that you find joy and just that you enjoy flight simming. It's one of the coolest things that you can do on a computer today, I think. Especially if you have a VR headset. I think it's the coolest thing you can do with a VR headset.
I agree. I don't do anything else with the VR headset, but I agree.
I have tried other things, and like, I don't know, man. The escapism of flying a military jet in VR is something else. But this will leave us to later